What was a red flag that made you stop talking to a person almost immediately? Second date. Things got spicy. She refused to use a condom, so I said never mind, something's not right. I'm sorry, while we were both naked and literally as close as you can get to having sex. Without actually having sex. She got pissed and stormed out. I wasn't surprised. A few months later, some new guy she had been dating said he caught her poking holes in his condoms. She found out she was pregnant a little while later and didn't understand why the dude just vanished. The guy isn't an asshole. He just felt lied to and trapped. I don't blame him for running LOL. Bullet dodge. Applied for a job. In the interview, we discussed my desire to travel less as the primary factor in looking for a new job, as this would be a 10-minute one-way commute instead of 45 minutes. The business owner loved me and verbally offered a pay rise on my current job. I accepted verbally and asked him to put the offer in writing. In writing, he offered a pay cut to my current rate and disclosed 3 months of 1 to days a week 1.5-hour one-way commute. When I questioned the differences, he got aggressive, defensive, and complained about my tone. I did not take the job. Bullet dodge. Geil man, nice guys aren't almost 30 and trying to guilt trip 18-year girls in order to have the most unsatisfactory and selfish sex possible, wishing my 18-year self would have known more about the world. Said that I was irresponsible for not shutting completely down during COVID, and I should pay employees while we closed. I explained for 1,000th time that we were legally obligated to work, and I couldn't be sued by 12 clients and pay them back for contract costs and continue to pay employees. That we'd be out of business and be financially ruined for the rest of our lives. She was fine with that and couldn't comprehend what legally obligated meant. I decided I didn't need that kind of stupidity in my life and never looked back. Association pushed people on welfare and government assistance as lazy and cheating society, and proceeded to brag about how much money he was making collecting unemployment while working under the table. I called him on it and he couldn't see the hypocrisy. This was a guy who was over 30, living with his parents, and had previously stated he had no desire to ever move out. I haven't talked to him since, but shocker, I hear he's a right-wing conspiracy theorist now. He was constantly blowing up my phone after only knowing me for a couple of days, texting me paragraphs and paragraphs. He begged me to tell him why I wasn't responding quickly and insisted he values communication and wouldn't get upset. I simply told him I don't stay glued to my phone, and I'd prefer a phone call at the end of the day over endless texting. He just said K and gave me a shitty attitude for the rest of the day. Basically, he was a 35-year-old child, and I don't want children LOL. I sent a message to a guy on a community dating site. This was back in the day when you had to log into the website or check your email for any responses. Ad sent me another message, this time an angry one. Why would I bother reaching out to him if I didn't reply? I was wasting his time for my lack of response. This was all in a span of like 2 to 3 hours. She 39F decided to walk out in the middle of a group dinner and act borderline psychotic in front of the restaurant in the street in Chicago. Historically, everyone's attention has to be on her. My own mother pretended to have amnesia. She has a slew of other mental health conditions. So, that night in Chicago was 100 a deal breaker. She wanted to get high while our group of friends visited, and she didn't feel anything for hours after having an edible, and then decided it was showtime. I was friends with a guy through my daughter. Both our kids went to the same school, same grade. At any rate, we became friends over the years. Dude was a cop, always low-key racist. Things started to get bad when Trump ran for office. I met and married a woman. She is Korean American. We got pregnant and had a child. He said, dude, your kid looks hella Asian. That was it. That was the final straw. I had known him long enough to know it wasn't a compliment. Started talking to someone new and thought I made a new friend until he invited me to his friend's Discord. Joined only to see his best friend was spamming the N-word and posting Nazi shit, and the other for friends in that group. The person I was talking to just laughed at it. And these weren't edgy 14-year-olds, these were grown-ass adults in the 23-27-year-old range. I left that friendship and Discord server at the speed of light. My current hospital roommate, he's a bit simple-minded but funny. And a bit deaf. And we use signs to talk 'cause I can't raise my voice. About random shit which was nice and distracting from why we're here. Home with his wife who's currently in a clinic somewhere else, and the board that was a long-ass 25 minutes. They spent talking shit on full speakers about the black people actually working on healing them. When I was pregnant, I was telling a co-worker friend that I had taken the genetic test to determine if my baby would have Down syndrome. She asked if I would have an abortion, which I replied no. It was just to prepare ourselves in case it was so. She went on this rant about how folks with mental disabilities should just be left in the wood to die. Like in the past. I never talked to her again. Beyond what was required by work. Said she thought white people actually have it worse than black people. We are both white middle-aged women. She had never shown me any racist tendencies in the 15 years prior. He referred to a grown black man as boy in a news article on B and everything. Unfriended. Sucks when you have known someone and loved them as a friend, the family you choose, and they disappoint you so deeply. I've been called misogynistic so many times that it's lost all meaning for me. Dude, if that many people are calling you a misogynist, you need to take a long hard look in the mirror and get some therapy. Not redefine the word. Same guy got mad because a woman he'd been seeing for 6 weeks wasn't prioritizing him over everything else. He deserved the same kind of attention she gave to her job, friends, family. Itley just said basically, well, that would have been good to know right away. I was interested in something romantic here. Not looking for more friends. So take care, and never spoke to her again, lol. I thought of her as a cool, more worldly wise friend confidant. I called her to tell her I was engaged at 19 years old. She called me stupid, that I had so many more cocks to try out instead of settling on my first. That I'd be a divorced single mother within 5 years and no man would ever want me then. Cut her and her husband out immediately. So did my parents. Still married. 15, almost 16 years later. New flatmate in a large house started talking anti-vax nonsense while I was cooking. I said, I suppose you think masks don't work either. He walked off, came back with a vape and a mask, took the vape, blew it into the mask. Vape comes out. Science. Yeah man. Surgeons have been wearing masks for no reason for over a century. Germ theory isn't a thing. Why don't you try spitting through that mask? Good night. We were neighbors having a conversation about a family that lived nearby that had been there a while. He said something along the lines of, yeah, when they moved in that girl was in preschool, soon she'd be driving. It's a shame she's not hot. If she was going to be, it would have happened by now. For context, I was in my 30s, and he was at least 10 years older than me. We're not friends anymore. Who asked me for advice as a long-time mutual friend of hers and her husband's and kids, and after several days lying to friends that she left him for some guy named me. I don't know who that is. His friends immediately called him out and kicked him out. And his wife took him back. And I'm not friends with them anymore. Well, I think a common red flag for people is when someone is constantly negative or always brings drama into every conversation. It can be pretty draining if someone is always complaining or creating unnecessary conflict. Like, we all have our bad days, but if it's a constant thing, it can really turn people off. What do you think? Seemed like a chill if not slightly eccentric dude. Randomly started talking about how much he loves beating up his GF, a severely mentally ill, lightly schizophrenic homeless girl, and how much she loves it because it's a 24/7 sub-dom king. Yeah, no. Icaf about no kink shaming. I will shame the F out of you for domestic violence. Had a dispute with a family member and she spoke ill of my sister who committed suicide. She also failed to express any sympathy whatsoever when my dad nearly died in a motorcycle accident that left him in a hospital for months. Not a word. Took me too long. But she is cut out of my life now. Done with that cancerous presence. I was chatting with a cute guy on a dating app. We'd been flirting for several months. And I had been chatting about how I kinda wanted to give him a BJ. Eventually, he started trying to ask for nudes as a trans girl. I really don't like the idea of sharing really anything lewd. Then he threatened to piss in my mouth. He disparaged people on the spectrum at a tech conference for developers, programmers for being socially challenged. I worked so hard to get in. It was incredible to be around so many people I admired. And this business asshole is assuming I'd be relieved to talk to someone who had an easy time with eye contact. A guy was openly dropping the N-word harder during our phone conversations, saying that they are ruining everything and don't work. I responded very quickly by telling him that my black girlfriend at the time was making more money than me and has a college degree. He hung up and we never talked again. Telling me somebody else's secret. Tears. But if that person trusted you, knew how to say it, and you say it back to me, that's a red flag. There is one exception I can think of. That being if the secret puts me or somebody I know in danger. It about everything all the time. So you add one thing in there while they're on a rant, then next thing you know you're getting pulled in the office. And that coworker was the only one who had you say it. Also, people like this have Reddit, why do you do this?